our question, but our statement and our question tonight. Now, remember, I want to make the real quick announcements again that, of course, next Sunday night, we won't have the service because we have our cookout. On July 16th or whatever that Sunday is, we're doing God's Not Dead. Going to show the movie on Sunday night, 6 o'clock. Everybody bring a pizza, your favorite pizza, and bring it in, okay? And we'll do that maybe a few minutes early. I'd like to start the movie right at 6 so we're out of here at a decent time. Just get the pizza, sit down, we'll fellowship, have a good time with that. We'll do the same thing in August. I'm not sure about the pizza. We'll decide what we're going to do on food there. We'll do that again there in August. And before you know it, Awana will start back in. We'll be back into that again. So these summers, they go fast, don't they? Which brings us to our topic tonight. There's always tomorrow. Or is there? Do we have any procrastinators in here? Some of you say, I'll get around to raising my hand eventually here, right? Someone said, I was going to procrastinate, but I kept putting it off, right? There's always tomorrow. I mentioned this morning how I love classical old movies, right? The classical movies, like Laurel and Hardy and, things. I could go on with a list of the great movies that I like, but my wife would string me up letting that information out, right? But one of the movies I like to watch, if I can, every year at Christmas time, there's certain movies that we watch. You guys, any of you do that? Certain Christmas movies you watch? And always White Christmas is the last one for us. It's the last one you watch right before Christmas. But one of them I like to see if I can is Rudolph. Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer. Does anybody know what Rudolph's girlfriend's name is? Clarice. Yes, Clarice. In the movie, Clarice sings a song. And in the song, she says, there's always tomorrow for dreams to come true. Believe in your dreams come what may. And someone can sing the rest of it if you want. Cute little song, cute song. There's always tomorrow. But the question is there always tomorrow? Is there really always tomorrow? Is there always tomorrow for our dreams to come true? We hear a lot today about a bucket list, right? You guys know what a bucket list is? A bucket list is things people want to do before they kick the bucket. And they make a list of all the things they want to do. They want to travel somewhere. They want to meet somebody and go to a certain concert or, jump out of an airplane. I don't know why they want to do that. It would be the last thing I did if I did something like that. But they have all these things they want to do, but sometimes we put off. We think, one day I'll do it. One day I'll get around to it. One day I'll get there and I'll do the thing I want to do. But what we find out is one day never comes, right? That one day just very rarely, it seems like it ever gets here. We never know. There might not be a tomorrow. If you believe what the Bible says, you say, hey, the Lord can come back anytime. So we don't know if there's going to be tomorrow. And if we make plans for tomorrow and he comes back, I've wasted my plan-making ability, right? Because I didn't get to do it. So we have the question, should I make plans or not? I mean, if I make plans for tomorrow, am I showing a lack of faith that I don't believe Jesus really could come back? If I don't make plans, am I not fulfilling my duty? Am I just living recklessly? So we might be caught in the mix. You ever wonder what I should do? I mean, if I make plans, for tomorrow, if I make plans for the rest of my life, and try to anyway, am I just saying, I don't believe Jesus really could come back or what? How are we supposed to deal with this issue? Can we expect tomorrow to come or not? Well, just so happens that James gives us some advice here. And this is probably not a new passage for most of you, right? You've probably been through this, maybe memorized this sometime. But he gives us some good advice. So let's open to James chapter 4. And I want to read verses 13 to 17 to get us going here tonight. James 4, verse 13. Come now, you who say, today or tomorrow we will go into such and such city, spend a year there, buy and sell and make a profit. Whereas you do not know what will happen tomorrow. For what is your life? It is even a vapor that appears for a little time and then vanishes away. Instead, you ought to say, if the Lord wills, we will live and do this or that. But now you boast in your arrogance. All such boasting is evil. Therefore, to him who knows to do good and does not do it, to him it is sin. So good advice now. And I like how he starts it. He says, come on, guys. Wait, this is an interesting little phrase he uses here because he says, come now. And I'm thinking he's like saying, come on, you guys should know this. Get with the program, right? I'm not giving you some new information here. You know that your life is very short. You know that already. But sometimes you got to remind people of things they already know. By the way, that's what most preaching is. You don't usually come to church and walk out and say, I didn't know that. You come to church and you say, I forgot that, right? Or I'm not doing that and I'm supposed to be doing that. And so that's what James says. Come on, guys, you know better than that. You understand. Here you are, you're going out there and you're making all these plans, you're doing all these things in your life, and you're forgetting that God is in charge and you might not even have tomorrow. You make all these great plans, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, but you need to understand that you might not have tomorrow. But then again, you might. So what do you do with that? So he gives us some ideas here about how to plan. So that's what this is our outline tonight. How to plan for the future. How to plan for the future. Having a problem with it? Here's your answer tonight. Okay, a few things. First of all, how to plan for the future? Plan cautiously. Cautiously, because we have no knowledge of what's going to happen tomorrow. Have you ever been surprised by something that happens in the course of a day? You ever gone to bed at night and said, I had no idea that stuff was going to happen today? That happens a lot, right? You get up and you have your day planned out and you think you know what you're going to do, and then the monkey wrench is thrown into it, and you're surprised. Verse 13 again. Come now, you who say, today or tomorrow we'll go into such and such city, spend a year there, buy and sell and make a profit, whereas you do not know what will happen tomorrow. For what is your life? It's even a vapor that appears for a little time and vanishes away. So who he's talking to here is a guy who says, I know what I'm doing tomorrow. I'm going to go and I'm going to go to the city. I'm going to buy and sell there. I'm going to get some gain. I'm going to come back. I know exactly what I'm going to do tomorrow. And the warning is, yes, you make the plans, but you got to do it cautiously because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We have no idea. God does, but we don't. But what he's getting at here is not saying, hey, don't plan. He's not saying don't go out there and, decide what you're going to do. He says, understand that things just might not work the way that you want them to work. God might have different idea in mind. Plan cautiously. So I want you to write this down because I don't want you to miss this, okay? It doesn't mean we should never make plans. What he's getting at here is the attitude of pride. I'm in charge of my life. I will do what I want to do. And here I go. Tomorrow I'm going to make money in this city and nobody can stop me. You plan cautiously, understanding that God's in charge of this thing. And maybe my plans aren't going to happen. Maybe I'm going to be surprised. Matter of fact, I like Proverbs chapter 6. Proverbs chapter 6, verses 6 to 8. It's a really cool passage. If you don't know it, it's about ants. Go to the ant, you sluggard. You know what a sluggard is, right? I just love that word. You can say lazy person, but I think sluggard is so good. It's a lazy person with oomph. Sluggard, not just lazy, but a sluggard. Sit around all day, don't do anything. You go look at an ant. Now, how humiliating is that? You're a person, you're made in the image of God. You need to go learn something from ants. You know the ants that you walk on and smush them? The ants that dig ant hills in your driveway? Go learn something from those little creatures. What do you learn from them? Consider her ways and be wise, which, having no captain, overseer, or ruler, provides her supplies in the summer and gathers her food in the harvest. There's no little ant with a bullhorn. You ever watch a bunch of ants? They're really fun to watch. They're really fun to study and all the things. It's incredible what they do. And yeah, there's a queen ant, but all she does is lay eggs. There's no little ant saying, okay, you guys go get this, you guys do that. And if you study the ants, you find out that they have in their little ant hill, that most of it's underground, so I guess it's not really a hill. But if you go down in there, they have a room where they put all their trash. They're better than a lot of people, right? They have a room there for their trash. And they have a little room over there for the eggs. And a room for the larvae. And all this stuff they have, it's all set up exactly how it should be. And there's nobody telling them how to do it. There's no little ant standing at the top of the anthill saying, okay, now you take the trash to room 4A, and you go down. They just do it. And they do it over and over, and they just keep doing it, keep doing it. Industrial little buggers they are. And so he says here in Proverbs, hey, go, if you're lazy, if you just sit around, go look at the ant and learn something from the ant. Because the ant is smarter than a lot of people, because the ant plans for the future. So the Bible teaching is not don't plan. The Bible teaching is plan like the ant, because the worst days are coming. Like Joseph took care of Egypt, he planned for the future. You plan for the future, but understand you plan in humility. These are my plans. I'm going to go this route, but I know that God might change some things somewhere along the line. And that's entirely His prerogative to do so. So as we plan cautiously. It doesn't mean we should never make plans. This is what it means. It means we need to realize that we do not know what will happen tomorrow. We do not know what will happen tomorrow. Nobody does. You get up in the morning, you make your plans, right? Guess what I'm going to do today? I'm going to eat breakfast. I'm going to go to work. And I'm going to go play golf or whatever you do. You have all these things. And you get to the end of the day and nothing worked out, and it just like, well, that was a waste of a day. You don't know. You get a phone call in the middle of the day. I remember here a few years ago, I was in the church, gone to church in the morning. I expected, it's going to be a run-of-the-mill day. I'm going to be there. I'm going to do a lot of studying, and maybe I had a visit or two planned. I don't remember. And I got this phone call probably about 9 in the morning that there's this kid that I didn't know him, but a relative had been coming to our church a little bit. A little kid, his dad was driving a semi-truck, veered off the road, hit a tree, and killed him. This kid was like 10 years old. And they said, can you come over here while we tell this kid? I mean, how do you see that coming, right? And how many times those things happen? We don't know. And sometimes you make a plan for a day, and it's like the whole thing gets blown up. But we need to understand that God can do that. So as we make plans, we make them cautiously, understanding that this is my plan, and I'm supposed to make my plan. I'm supposed to try to chart things out, or I'm going to sit around and do nothing. But God might change things. And I got to be okay with that. That helps our attitude, too, if we understand that things won't always go the way that we want them to go. So we do not know what is going to happen tomorrow. So how do we plan for the future? First of all, we plan cautiously. I'm going to make my plans. I'm going to plan for retirement, right? Say, well, the Lord's going to come back before retirement. Well, you don't know that. Very possible, but you don't know that. So you plan. You plan for your next career step or whatever it is you want to do. But understand, God's in charge and He might change things. Number 2, we plan wisely because we have no promise of tomorrow. Wisely. Wisely means I'm making my plans, but I'm doing it with what's most important in mind. Because you know what? I might go through tomorrow, but I might never see the next day. So I'm going to do the things that are important. Look again at verse 14, of James chapter 4. Whereas you do not know what will happen tomorrow. How many of us know what's going to happen tomorrow? We might have an idea if nothing changes. The same thing we do every Monday, right? You might have an idea, but we don't know that for sure. We don't know when we'll be called out of this world because He says, look, what's your life? It is even a vapor. Vapor. And we've all heard that illustration so many times, right? And you put the tea kettle on and the water goes up and there it is and it's gone. Where'd it go? Well, it's just gone. You can't see it. And life seems like that, doesn't it? There's a few of you in here that have got a few years on me. And you can say, it seems like just hardly any time ago, I was young. And now I'm older. Caught myself. Because there's nobody in here that's old tonight. Right? It just seems like just yesterday we were in elementary, And here we are getting older. How does this happen? Your life is so quick. And it can end at any time. There's no promise of tomorrow. Have you ever been outside when it was really, really foggy? I mean, where you couldn't see a thing? And you just feel like this is all there is. A few times I've been driving in the fog. Say fog is thick as pea soup, But have you ever been in that? And you can't even see if you're driving maybe 5 feet in front of your car, really dangerous. And you just feel like, I don't know where I'm going. I can't see anything in the future. And you feel like you're just kind of stuck here. And then it lifts and you say, it wasn't that bad. Because now I can see everything, right? And sometimes life is like that. Sometimes life, we feel like I don't know where I'm going. I can't see what's behind me. I can't see what's in front of me. I'm just kind of stuck here. And then it lifts. But we understand fog. It's there, then it's not. Our life is like that. Here it is. And we feel like this is all there is. And then boom, it's over. You think about how many people have lived in this world since it began. How many people have lived? There's estimates, but how many people have lived and we have no idea they ever lived? You ever think about that? How many millions and millions of people, there's no record at all that they ever even lived. Kind of makes you feel a little insignificant, doesn't it? Of course, God knows. But we think it's all about us. We think the world revolves around each one of us individually, right? But he says, look, understand, this world is going to go on without you. Your life is a vapor. So you plan in your life wisely. Do things that matter. Plan out. Yeah, you got to plan for retirement. How are you going to take care of your family? How are you going to live after you're not working anymore? You got to plan, for things. What am I going to do with my kids when they get older? And you got to plan for these kind of things. But we need to plan in ways that matter. When we come to the end of our life and look back, will we be happy about those choices that we've made? Some of this stuff has to be planned out. Life just goes so fast, like a vapor. How old am I? 43, 44? I just had a birthday. What year is? I guess I'm 44 now. It just keeps changing. I can't keep up with it anymore. But it seems, sometimes I stop and I think, how did that happen? How in the world did that happen? Where did those years go? It's like you blink and they're gone. And you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. It just goes so fast. And as you get older, it seems like it goes so fast, much faster. When I was a child, I'd come home from school in the spring, last day of school. Summer vacation stretched out like an eternity before me. 3 months. Maybe close to 4. I don't remember what it is. They're shortening it now. They hardly get like 2 weeks anymore, it seems like. But now, summer comes and it's fall already. How did that happen? I've been looking forward to summer. I've been looking forward to warm up. And all of a sudden it's cold again. How did that happen? Time just seems to really speed up, doesn't it? I'm not sure what the deal is with that. Maybe it's because we get so busy and everything. But we look back and all of a sudden our life is just, so much of it's gone. And we say, what happened? Where'd it go? Our life is like a vapor, so we need to plan wisely. What are we going to do with these few days that we have? Every once in a while, I'll teach a lesson, maybe to teens, or maybe even preach it, and count up number of days. I don't remember the numbers right now, but if you live an average of 70 or 80 years, how many days do you live? And how many days have you already lived? A lot of people get thinking, man, I'm over halfway there. If I even live to be that long, that old. Or maybe I'm 3/4 of the way there. I'm really running out of days. It really makes you stop and think about these things, doesn't it? Life is so fast. The lesson of James here is that it could end, and it will end soon, but it might even end quickly. You might think, hey, I have a few thousand days left or whatever. I'm not that old, but we don't know. How many people get up in the morning and they're dead before night and had no idea that would happen? Got to plan wisely. Do things that matter. Proverbs 27:1, do not boast about tomorrow, for you do not know what a day may bring forth. You don't know. You can't promise you're going to do something tomorrow. We don't know what's going to happen tonight and tomorrow and the next day. We can plan, and we need to plan, but understand we need to be doing some of the important things because we don't know when it's going to end. In James chapter 1, I want to go back just a little bit. We've been reading in chapter 4, but James chapter 1 and verse 10. I want to read verse 9. James 1 verse 9. Let the lowly brother glory in his exaltation, but the rich in his humiliation, because as a flower of the field he will pass away. For no sooner has the sun risen with a burning heat than it withers the grass. Its flower falls, and its beautiful appearance perishes. So the rich man also will fade away in his pursuit. There he's talking about the rich man. It seems like he owns the world now, and one day he'll be like that grass that has turned brown because we don't have enough rain and it's hot. Say, where did all my green grass go? It's gone. Things, your flowers, as we get closer to fall, they're so beautiful in the spring, they're going to die. I'm not meant to be discouraging and disheartening to anybody today. I'm just helping us think wisely here, okay? I'm listening to myself saying, boy, that sounds like a downer. But we have to know this stuff, right? We have to know that life is going to end one day. And it might be soon. We don't know. So we have to plan, and we have to plan wisely. When you turn on the news, you see earthquakes and tsunamis and terrorism and all these things. And people die. They were healthy in the morning and they're gone by night. We have no idea. So we need to plan with all that in mind. And hope we get more days and hope we get more years, but we don't know. We need to plan accordingly. That's why he says, if God wills, as long as God allows me to live, I'm going to do these things, but I don't know. Hope so, but I don't know. So we plan cautiously. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We plan wisely. There's no promise that we'll even have tomorrow. So we need to do the things that are important. And then finally, we need to plan humbly, submitting to God's will for tomorrow. And here's really the clincher. Well, this is what I'm going to do tomorrow. I know I'm going to do it. But he says, no, add this little disclaimer on there in some way. If the Lord wills. And a lot of people just have developed that speech, and they say, I'm going to do this, God willing. I'm going to do this, Lord willing, and everything. And whether they really understand what they're saying or not, I'm not sure. But that's the idea. When we make plans for tomorrow, we need to understand that these are my plans if God allows me to live and do this tomorrow. So just saying it isn't enough. Saying it's fine. But I want you to write this down because it's important. It should go beyond saying to living. It's not enough just to say, oh, Lord willing, I'm going to do this tomorrow, if you don't really mean it. Because if God changes your plans and He doesn't allow you to do that, you get mad at Him. You didn't really mean it, right? We make our plans. This is what I'm planning to do tomorrow if God so allows it to happen. And if He wants to change my plans, He's God. He can do that. And I'm going to have a good attitude about it. We should. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't always happen, but we should. So we need to plan humbly. This is my plan. This is what I plan to do. And I think it's a good plan. I think it's what God would have me to do. Everything's okay. But you know what? If God doesn't allow me to do it, then that's okay too. Because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So James is rebuking here people that are making prideful plans. This is what I'm going to do. I know what I'm going to do today and tomorrow, and I know how I'm going to make this money. I know how I'm going to do all these things. He says, hang on a minute, put the brakes on, because you don't know. God might not give you tomorrow. He might, but He might not. So plan accordingly. What if you were gone today? What if you were gone tonight or tomorrow? If you died tomorrow, would the things you did today make a difference? You need to plan for that. That doesn't mean everything needs to be, some kind of spiritual plan. You got to go and you got to live. You got to do all these things. But we understand it's about humility. Verse 16 again. But now you boast in your arrogance. Hey, you who goes and says, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. I'm going to do these things. Nobody can stop me. You're boasting in your arrogance because you don't know. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. All such boasting is evil. Plan out your life, but you don't know what all is going to happen. He says this is evil. We have the phrase, don't count your chickens before they hatch, right? I guess that's what he's saying. I don't think that phrase came from here, but we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Have you ever just been totally surprised? I want to get down to verse 17. By the way, verse 17, I think, is not just wrapping up what we're talking about. I think he's wrapping up his whole chapter here. Got a lot of instructions here in chapter 4. In verse 17, he says here, let me wrap this up. Therefore, to him who knows to do good and does not do it, to him it is sin. He's talking about all the things he's talking about in chapter 4, but also what we're discussing tonight. What are we discussing? You plan wisely, cautiously, humbly, understanding that God is in charge, and I'm not going to get mad if He messes up my schedule. And if you don't treat life like that, it's sin. It's sin to plan in pride without understanding that God's in charge, without understanding that any time my life could end. It's sin. It's evil. So he's summing up the whole chapter. So here's the question. Should we make plans for the future? The answer is yes. The Bible is very clear on that. We could go into financial discussion on that if we wanted. Should we save money for the future? Yes. We'll say, isn't that a lack of faith? No. It's smart. It's like the ant. Go to the ant, you sluggard, right? The ant saves up. People should save up. It's not a lack of faith. It's using the brains God gave you. So we could talk about finances if we want. We could talk about all kinds of things, what we do. Should we make plans for the future? Yes, but we make them understanding that we don't know we don't know if we're even going to have tomorrow. We don't know what's going to happen on down the line. Let's write this down. I want to talk about this for just a minute. When we make plans for the unknown future, we need to humbly submit ourselves to the will of God. That's really the thing that we need to get. We need to make plans for an unknown future. But as we do that, we submit ourselves to the will of God. Now, you need to understand this, because if you really get this, it'll help you with your attitude in life. You ever get frustrated when things don't go the way you want? Anybody in here not, what's the word, not flexible, you know? It's not going the way I want. There's some days, just like you, I think I've got all these things I need to do. Man, maybe I have these visits that I need to make. I've got these sermons I need to prepare. This administration I've got to do. And I've got all this stuff I need to do. And then something happens and just blows it to smithereens. Like, God knows that I have to do this stuff, right? What is the deal here? I need to get this stuff done. But if we understand this, it helps us with our attitude. There have been times, and I learned this, and it really helped me a lot, because sometimes you go to visit somebody, and somebody you really want to see, and you don't want to call them because then it gives them an excuse not to be home. Somebody you really need to see, maybe they visited, or there's something you got to talk to them about, and I've driven to their house and they're not there, and it just like, I got to get this done, right? And finally I realized, you know what, maybe God is not allowing them to be home because now is not the right time. Because He knows. That helped me a lot. Doesn't mean I enjoy it. I like to get things done and chalk it off the list. I like to do that. But it helps us with our attitude if we understand, I'm going to make my plans. This is what I'm planning to do tomorrow. But if God has something else in mind, that's okay too. So you have all these things planned out that you want to do tomorrow, and you get a phone call, and it throws a wrench in everything. Instead of getting frustrated, you just come back to here and you say, okay, I understand. I make my plans, but God is the one who might move them around. If you can really get a hold of this, your blood pressure will automatically be lower because there's not so much stress. God's in charge. And if He allows me to go with my plan, I got a plan. It's good. But if He changes it, my life is not in upheaval anymore. If He changes it, it just means He's got a better plan. Maybe not better in my opinion, but if it's His plan, then it's better automatically, right? And it helps us to submit ourselves to Him. So we can say, hey, there's always tomorrow. But we don't know that. Maybe there is. Maybe there isn't. In 5 years, how many of us that are here in this room tonight will be here? 10 years. 20. Next week. See, we don't know this. We have no idea. So we plan accordingly. If God gives me another 100 years, cool. If not, fine. We need to plan accordingly. Plan like we're going to be on this earth forever. But be ready anytime. It might take us away. Life is a vaporous station. Let's bow our heads tonight. And we're going to close with a song here. And, hey, Sunday night, maybe somebody just needs to take a few minutes with God and say, I need to plan. Or I need to understand that God makes the ultimate plan. You need to submit something to Him, repent of something. You do that tonight when we sing. Father, we thank You tonight for allowing us to be here. We thank You for these lessons that we have here in the book of James. Help us to take them to heart, to plan as we should. But understand, You might make changes in our plan. We ask for the folks that aren't here tonight because of sickness and traveling. You watch over them. I ask You to speak to hearts here tonight in Jesus' name. All right, let's stand, please, as Kenny leads us in a song.